everyone. So happy to be with you again today. I have a guest that is not a stranger to you, but we've had some new and exciting things happen for him. It's been a little while since we spoke, so I'm going to let him introduce himself with his name and where he's from.
Hi, Augusta Nation. My name is Anthony Bertucci. I'm the general manager of Augusta Lawn Care of West Hampton.
Yes, and so we have a few exciting things I'd like to share about your position in Augusta Nation now, but tell us where you are right now at your location in terms of revenue size. We're just getting ready for spring and how you prepared for spring to set yourself up for success.
Well, I'll tell you where we closed at last year. We closed around 720,000 in revenue.
Awesome.
That was up from 580 the year before.
Woohoo.
I will tell you, as of now, just running the numbers this past Saturday, year over year, we're up about another 27,000 from where we were at last March.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you think the secret is to that success?
Grind, grit, determination. I have to tell you, like I make this business my life just because when I kind of, see the fruits of my labor and everything that was put into it, and not just me, the guys who, work underneath me, obviously Jason, the owner, when we start to see things starting to fall into place, because this is my third full season, fourth season as the general manager, but third full season,
Mm-hmm.
um, starting to see things really coming to the where they're supposed to be this year. So,
I love
um,
that.
the door hangers, customer relations, obviously command center, which, helps out a lot at this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
All those things kind of add into the formula. So,
Got it. So how did you prepare for this spring? Did you do door hangers or what did you do for marketing?
well, where we're at right now, like really, the jump off point for us is April and May. We're kind of
Hmm.
in the midst of, spring cleanups, but this year is a lot of door hangers. I plan to have about 10,000 by the end of May.
Wow. Is
We're
that for
already at
mowing?
they're mowing cleanups. We kind of have a general door hanger which lists all of our services, and then we have certain ones which are timely, like for fall
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But right now seeing minimal kickback from that. But we kind of live in a seasonal area where people start to come out close to Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of door hangers, obviously Google, which is up. One click, those text blasts, which is something awesome inside of Copilot, which has
Yes.
kind of brought a lot of new customers for just spring cleanups on this season. So,
Yeah, that's fantastic. So where are you in revenue now at the beginning of the season? How many guys do you have?
as of now, from January up until this point, we are at, I'll give you an exact number, 89,000, which was brought in thus far. Right now, I only have two full-time guys, but I have six guys total. The other ones are part-timers, which obviously they'll jump up when the work is
Mm-hmm.
there. But I kind of split them, throughout the week evenly, and I have two guys who I consider, like the crew leaders who have the 5 days of as of now, which we will,
Mm.
separate that, into four tens, which a lot of Augusta locations do, and I'm kind of extremely interested to see how that works out for us.
Yes, so you've never done 410s before?
No, usually, we were just doing the 5/8s, and obviously sometimes guys would get overtime with that. But this year and trying to split up things the way they are, I mean, we're operating. This is the highest efficiency of a crew I've had this year. You
Mm-hmm.
know, 82% when I looked on
Wow.
Saturday, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And in the winter, did you do Christmas lights or winter services?
We did winter services, Christmas lights. In having conversations with people, I just didn't want to jump in blind.
Yes.
But talking to a lot of other owners and everything, that is in the cards for this year. But winter services we did do, and we had some
Fantastic.
snow, which helped out a lot. So
Yes, that's awesome. And you came to the summit. So how did that go for you coming to conference and summit and what was your participation?
I was actually asked by Liz on a Thursday to speak, and the conference was that weekend. It was definitely an honor, and I appreciate that you had asked me to do that.
Mhm.
I came in a little bit nervous this year because I had put something together, last minute. But the only thing for me is like when I have to think about something, and it festers in my mind, I tend to make it a bigger deal than really what it is.
Mhm.
But everything that I always wanted is on the other side of fear, and I
Yep.
am a fearful person sometimes.
Mhm.
But once it's over, I was like, it's awesome, and I connected with a lot of general managers, some owners, and this year was asked. Well, not asked. I volunteered, but I was voted in as a coach. I'm
Mhm.
the only general manager on there, which is an honor in itself. Getting
Mhm.
to connect with people, in Augusta Nation throughout this country, which is an extreme honor, and it helps me. It might sound a little selfish, but I learn from these people as well. So taking away a lot of things benefits me as well. So.
Mhm. I would say that you're in an unusual spot because the owners really handed over everything to you because he trusts you to run the company like it's your own. And why do you think that Augusta Nation wanted you on the coaching team?
I'm a harsh critic of myself. That's a hard question to ask. You know, I just the focus I've had with this. I'm always eager to learn new things and reaching out to a lot of people, and I guess getting my name out there.
Mhm.
And obviously you've helped me a lot with that with a few of these interviews that I've been on, and couldn't give you an honest answer. I don't like to ever praise myself. These my crew and obviously Jason have gotten me to this position to
Mhm.
where I'm able to help out other general managers in this company. So
Mhm. Well, when your name was put forward to our leadership team, there was no question at all. We've never had a GM, but if there was one, you were the name that came forward for all of us. So you are a leader for your team, great leader. You have a great team. You're good with the numbers. You do run the business as if it's your own. And in every company, we encourage all the employees to care for and run the company as if it was their own,
mhm.
and you have made those guys successful and helped them made money, and in turn that's helped Jason make money. And so you were the obvious choice to have somebody come on to represent the GMs, and that's really exciting. And that means that owners can reach out to you as an owner almost, and because you're running it completely as if you were. And we just added you to the repertoire of people, and I think you're going to be highly successful and be a blessing to a lot of people.
It's an honor, I have to tell you that. Even when I came out there for the coaches training, and getting to connect with the a few guys who I've seen, obviously their growth, and Connor Hutchinson is one of them, coming from a general manager to where he is at today.
Hmm.
I like to connect with those people because they have something that I want, and
Yeah.
when I idolize these guys and start to ask a lot of questions and get closer to them, like I said, it benefits me, which in turn benefits the owner, and obviously benefits the guys who work at this company, work at this location. So
You mentioned grind, grit, and determination, and that you put everything you have into this job. What do you think would happen if you gave 70, 80%? Where would the gaps be?
if I'm not 100% there myself, what I've learned about myself is I probably need to rest a bit, you
Hmm.
know, and I've been there a couple times, especially at in this position that I'm in now. But when I give that, I don't feel like the guys underneath us benefit.
Hmm.
I don't feel like the owner benefits. I've learned, obviously, and I've learned this the hard way, is that if I'm not all there, we're not firing on all cylinders.
Hmm.
And I don't even ever want to pat myself on the back because this is a team, and everybody involved in this team gives their own effort to where we're at
Hmm.
right now. Um, but I'm the face that these guys see, and
Hmm.
I am the leader that these guys see. And if I'm not there, we're not there. I'm
Hmm.
not thinking correctly, or I'm not dispatching jobs correctly, or bidding them correctly. My guys aren't going to thrive because that duty has fell upon me. So.
Hmm. Well, some GMs might have the question about how much do you allow, or how much do your team members actually communicate with the owner? Or do you completely block and protect for him and they never really have any interaction with him?
These guys will have access to Jason as needed. I mean, when we did our orientation kickoff, 2 weeks ago, Jason was there,
Okay.
um, in that to introduce himself. Jason, like we went over before, is an extremely busy man.
Hmm.
Um, but follows up with us on a daily basis. You know, he might not see the crew on a daily basis, maybe in passing, hi and goodbye, but you know, I'm the guy who they go to. So
Mm-hmm. That's good. So you're actually blocking and protecting him because he
mhm,
is busy and they know that you're the person to come to,
yes.
which I think is huge for other GMs to build that kind of respect so that the team doesn't feel like they have to go around them to
Mhm.
be heard and to be understood. So that's awesome. That shows you're a good leader. What kind of things do you put in place to lead your team?
Well, I'll tell you, as you know, this season more. I mean, I wanted to, you know, start off the season and kick it off correctly because in this location, there's been a lot of turnover with employees. You know, I have one guy who's returning who's been here with me since the beginning of this, but he is more of a spring and summer guy. You actually interviewed him last year,
Mm,
my guy
okay.
Tim. I have another gentleman who's been with us for 2 years, but I've turned it over, you know, just because if anybody doesn't fit the culture, they have to go. You know, I had
Hmm.
to let somebody go on the first day of the season. You know,
Wow.
we had an orientation. We went over exactly what's expected here, driven home P for P because that is the most important. These guys want to make money. We want to make money. Um, but on the first day, someone didn't fit the culture, they have to go. So if I'm trying to set an example here of what's expected and a
Hmm.
situation that had happened presented itself and I don't act on it, everything that I went over in orientation is out the window.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
don't want to
sure.
say like, I don't want to say that, you know, it's like a zero tolerance, obviously, because there's different situations that, you know, have it's on a case-to-case basis, but you know there is things that are expected of you to come here on time, to
Hmm.
respect each other, because we're all a team, and if we don't respect each other, it's not going to work. That was the case of the situation. So, and bringing in a lot of new guys, that one had to change immediately, and unfortunately it was on the first day of the season. So
Hmm. Did he have a problem with the P for P?
no, this was just more of a cultural
Hmm.
issue between him and another employee who was a new hire. So
So that is awesome that you were sensitive to that right away and got rid of him immediately.
yeah, it was a rough first week of the season, but
I can imagine.
yeah.
Yeah. So, how was the summit itself for you? When you spoke, it was to the franchisees, but then we went into the summit. So, what was that experience like for you?
It really is. There is nothing like it, you know. Especially, you know, my favorite part of the summit is obviously connecting and the franchisee part, just
Hmm.
because these are people who I work with, you
Right.
know, and getting to see their face, and I'm in contact with them a lot. But you know, face to face conversation, there's no price you could put to it.
Hmm.
But also hearing other perspectives of you know, business owners and people and how they market, how they go about things, their vision on their landscape business. You know, those are, you know, things that you can't put a price to. You know, and just being there for it, where I'm putting eyes to it,
Hmm.
it's amazing.
Yeah. How do you feel that you've had an impact on other GMs in Augusta? Have you had a lot of communication with them?
Since the summit, I
Hmm.
have done a bunch of you know, coaching calls with some general managers, and you know, I don't know. I don't ever really want to praise myself, but it's awesome that these guys look up to me or reach
Hmm.
out to me and have these conversations with me and ask me questions on how they should go about things. You know,
Hmm.
I'm never here to, you know, tell anybody how to run their business or a general manager on how they should do things. I can only suggest. You know, that's what
Hmm.
I've learned, and just conversating with these guys is priceless because I
Yeah.
learned things as well.
Yeah. So, what are the main questions that they reach out about?
A lot of questions are more. Driven in the sense of what's, you know, I've had a coaching call the other day, and the gentleman wanted to discuss, like, you know, what I do in my personal life.
Hmm.
You know, how do I come in here and deal with a certain situation if an employee doesn't show up? What to expect, you know, when a company gets past a certain amount of, you know, revenue.
Hmm.
um, and you know, my response is most of the time is like, you know, what was one of the questions I could give you a good answer for? What do I do when an employee does A and B, right?
Hmm.
And my response in that is really, it's like most of the time is what's the general manager really willing to put up with? What's the time?
Mm.
What's the time of the year this is going on? Is it easy to hire at that time of year? Because in a landscape business, you know, early spring is the best time to hire people. You know, and sometimes there is, you know, situations where we're able to kind of turn the cheek to it.
Yes.
Um, and look past it, because we need to get through the season and get through the work, and they already know the systems. It's hard to, get these guys on and train them, within a timely manner, because they should be on a mower within a week or so, like that.
Hmm.
These are a lot of questions that I'm asking. I just kind of give my 2 cents and, my experience with it. Like I don't ever push the point of what they should do in their business.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you feel like is their biggest, I would say, hang-ups or bottlenecks for GMs?
The biggest bottleneck, I have to say, which I've heard, is trying to get employees to buy into the pay for performance system.
Mm,
Um, it was hard for me too to explain this to employees, because they want to, we went over this before. They want to think that their base pay and their pay for performance pay, that they're going to make both of them. They don't
yes.
really understand the systems. So what I've learned is just really put on that video that Mike does explaining pay for performance, and kind of walk them through. And when they have any questions, I'm there to answer it. Mike says it best. He's the one who's created pay for performance.
Hmm.
But I feel like that's the bottleneck that some of these general managers have. But that's the most important, to get these guys to buy into it, because once they start reaping the benefits of P for P, then they're really bought in. Now you have a good employee who really wants to go above and beyond for their location. So
Right. So a GM really, he can't just have field experience and think I'm going to hop in and I'm just going to have the title of a GM. It really embodies so much more to where they actually take a lot of ownership over everything that happens in the company. So how would you counsel some of them in their relationship with the owner? Especially if they're maybe in your situation, they're not planning to own their own. They're planning to take this to the top, and then others are wanting to branch off and do their own thing. How should they cultivate their relationship with the owner?
and having a relationship with the owner is the most important thing as a general manager. It's a friendship plus a business partnership, right? So, at the end of the day, the business has to stay afloat and run in order for that general manager to collect a paycheck to, take care of what they have to take care of in their personal life, right? So I have a unique situation, where I am able to run basically all the aspects of this location. Some general managers don't. Some, deal with just employees and, other things. I have a unique situation, like I said, but I have to respect the chain of command, like I talk about all the time, because if I don't and I go above the owner's head, then that's just a big no-no. That cuts the trust inside of this
Hmm.
relationship. So I'm entrusted to run the business, right? But I need to listen to the direction that the owner, steps in and puts his input in. Like, I can disagree, but I still have to go with the owner's decision. That is the most important in building trust and a relationship with the owner. Um, Otherwise, it's not going to work.
And the GM is going to take all the heat for the owner. So, what would you say to them when they feel that sense of jealousy or frustration towards the owner? Like, you have no idea what I'm going through. And then jealousy that I should own this business because I work so hard for it. How would they work through that in their mind?
That is ego. I have to say that, and there's really no place for ego inside of this business. The jealousy, sure, there is those feelings that I could identify with, where people could feel that way.
Hmm.
um but in being put in a position like this, is an extreme blessing inside of itself, where they have the opportunity, especially with Augusta, to eventually own their own business and own their own location if they're an upstanding employee. In order to, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right?
Hmm.
So we are the trainee at this time, right? Eventually, with the opportunity to own our own location, but we need to take direction from who is above us in order to get to the next level. So sometimes that jealousy or anger or, resentment feeling inside of themselves is only temporary. We have to get past this part of our journey in order to get to the next step.
What do you think? What do you think they should do though if they start to lose trust with the owner, not the employee, but they lose respect towards the owner?
Um, I would feel like they should have a conversation with their owner in private. There's never a place to show distance between the general manager and the owner in front of their team members
Mhm.
or have these conversations in front of their team members. Anytime there is, those feelings, my recommendation personally would be to sit down and have a conversation with the owner and tell them exactly how you feel. And obviously they're, tell them exactly how you feel in a PG manner,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But you know, I'm sure that those issues can be hashed out behind closed doors.
Yeah, and if not, would you suggest they just part ways?
I mean, that's a hard question.
It is.
I honestly, have those conversations first with your owner, see
Mhm.
exactly where the agenda is and what's going on before you make any rash decisions and regret it. That's just my own opinion on that.
Yeah, and in the middle of emotion. So when you were here for franchisee training, I talked about the relationships and how at a certain point in business, you have to come to that point where you lay it all out, the pros and the cons of you staying
Mhm.
together and can it work? And then you have to decide, whether you're better together or you're better than to split up. And a lot of times that happens many, many times because there's so much emotion and so much happening, so many moving parts in our business, so many recurring services. It's not like we go to, uh, you know, the same person all the time and it all goes perfect. We have all these team members moving on and off properties. We're not just in a little office. So there's a lot of opportunity for emotion to be high and things to go wrong. So there's many times where you have to keep assessing that, are we better together to keep going forward or should we split up? And it's a hard truth and a hard thing to come up against.
Definitely is, and with that being said, though, spring is probably the hardest for us.
Yes.
I was watching something that Ryan Payne put up the other day. That spring rush is not easy, right? I
Yes.
I bring this business home with me sometimes. I'd be lying if I didn't,
Mhm.
and what I've learned is to create a boundary. After a certain amount of time during the day, whether it be 6 p.m. or 6:30, there's a cutoff right there because
Mhm.
I need to rejuvenate to come in and bring the same energy I brought the day before that day,
Right.
even with some more energy, right? It's hard. Emotions fly. That's correct, right? But we also need to realize that it's only temporary.
Mhm.
That feeling is only temporary, and if it's not, and that's there, that general managers, feeling that they need to move on, I would never tell anybody that their decision is wrong. That's their own journey. But my recommendation is just to have those conversations, sit down with the owner, and realize that your feelings are not facts.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I should write that down. Feelings are not facts. I tell my team that. It's so true because it's the same for us at Command Center. It's the busiest time. And so it's like you have to change your whole mindset from the winter season
Hmm.
to spring. Like you have to be like, okay, now we're going. You're not just trying to find things to do anymore for your crew. Now it's in go time and it's a whole mind shift.
It hit me. It hit me. This is our third week, but the first week, like I said, I had the first day I had that issue. The next 2 days there was like a big power outage in this neighborhood,
Oh no.
where I sent out a text blast on a Tuesday, and I had, I think it was close to 38 estimates on my board
Oh
for the
my
following
word.
day. And I was in the office and the power was out and I had to do the estimates on my phone. And then Thursday I had another issue with another employee, and then we had
Oh
some
my goodness.
we had some wildfires out here, where a lot of the pine barrens went on fire, and I was kind of stuck out here for a few hours. It's only 15 minutes away from my house, but it took me 3 hours to get home. That Sunday, what I did was I kind of disconnected and brought myself back. I have a lot of things I do inside of my personal life where I reach out to some people, and I had to get myself back to 100% because those weekends go fast and I'm back in the office quick on Monday.
Mhm.
And I need to get myself back to a mental state and prepare to move forward because the business isn't going to stop because Anthony's tired or
Totally.
emotional or angry. Life happens. And I have to tell you that last week after those fires, it's been a great week. We're definitely going to surpass our last March.
I
When I
love
look
it.
at the numbers and I start to feel a little bit better, like everything I'm doing and everything Jason's doing and the team is doing is worth it at the end of the
Mhm.
month.
That's awesome. You mentioned earlier about getting enough rest and things. So, are there certain times of day that you and Jason decide we're not going to talk anymore, like say after 6 p.m., or are you like still bouncing ideas off each other 24/7?
There's an open line of communication there, but we're kind of at the season right now where me and Jason we meet once a week.
Hmm.
We do have periodic texts throughout the week or a phone call just to check in at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Um, but he's busy with other businesses and other things and opportunities going on in his life. He has kids. They got sports events. I have kids as well.
Hmm.
Um, my phone is never off for Jason if he ever needed to contact me, and I respond back to him right away. But we're at the point now where we are head down, moving into the fire, ready to go and knock this year out the park. So
Hmm.
we just try to give each other our space. And yeah,
Do you think it would work for a GM with this kind of schedule to be paid hourly, or is it pretty much a must to be paid salary with all the time you're putting in?
I'd have to say, in order for the business to be profitable, it needs to be paid on salary. I don't know. I consider myself different in that aspect. Is whether it be a 70-hour, 80-hour week, it really doesn't matter. I bring the laptop home if I have to take care of things home. I'm always working, so
Yeah.
this is in order for this to work where we're at. I'm a salaried employee. I feel like that the vision of the company, and as far as where general manager should be paid, salary, I feel like is the best option.
Mhm. So most of the companies, do you recommend that maybe they would have profit sharing for the GM? So the GM would have their salary. Sometimes they work way more hours, especially in the spring, but to know they get a percentage of revenue would be really motivating for them to build the company.
That's definitely a motivating factor. To know that you are able to profit off of the growth that you helped contribute to build. That
Hmm.
is definitely something that I bought into.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. How do you do this with your kids, with being so committed to the business?
I'll tell you right now. So, obviously, a lot of people here know like I'm separated from their mother. We have a great relationship, by the way, a working relationship. Um, they're in school, but I make sure that they are the first people that I contact before they go to school.
Hmm.
Have conversations with them because that starts my mental state and my day off the right way.
Yes. Hmm.
But Saturdays, obviously now in season, it's usually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I work early on Saturdays as well. Right when I leave here on a Saturday, whether it be 12 or whether it be 3 p.m., my phone is off for business and it's all in dad mode.
Hmm.
I have them on the weekend until Sunday nights, and I leave this business to the side
I
because
love it.
I need to have the focus for them. I can't be taking business calls while that's going on.
Mhm, that is so important, so your children don't feel like, they have no parent because you're helping so much in the business.
Hmm.
Yeah, so as we wrap up today, can you tell me the things you've been listening to or things that have been inspirational for you that kinda give you the courage to start this, challenging season and just to keep you steady?
Well, a lot of things that are inspirational, as far as keeping it in house, is Mike's turnaround videos.
Mhm,
I watch them all the time just because I've seen people get into so much debt in companies that they really can't get themselves out of.
mhm,
Um, you know, God bless Mike for the situations that he walks into sometimes, as far as
mhm,
that. Um, but I listen to a lot of shorts, inspirational, shorts and quotes and videos. Um, Obviously, I'm like a big UFC guy. That's one of my favorite sports to watch. I watch a lot of training videos as far as how they got because when you're able to put your head down and deal with all of that prep that goes into training camp, you
mhm,
can accomplish anything inside of that octagon. I have a martial arts background as well. My father owns a martial arts school. I have that inside of me
mhm,
where I like to focus more on there is problems that happen, but how do I solve it and deal with the solution? I'm not in season able to really read books or
exactly.
or listen to podcasts. My guys, I try to encourage them to do that,
Yes.
but my phone rings nonstop.
Mhm,
but I just try to stay connected and deal with people outside of here that I handle as far as support groups or anything going. I stay in contact with general managers and take coaching calls and listen to other people's issues and try to learn, as crazy as it sounds, but try to learn from their issues so I don't have that same issue inside of my own business or my own life.
Oh, wow. Just that is great advice for people.
Hmm.
So, anything you'd like to share to owners in regards to their relationship with their GM or GMs in regards to relationship with their owners? Just a word of encouragement.
Um, I guess what it would be is more of to sympathize sometimes when that's needed, but also tough love is needed as well. Sympathize with your general manager sometimes in spring rush when they're a little bit overloaded and try to help where you can. But as far as some of these general managers might sometimes need a kick in the rear
Mm-hmm.
to get them going and to show them exactly where your vision and your direction is going with inside of your own business, and that's usually how you'll get somebody to buy in.
Looks like our friend bounced off. I'm not sure where he went. But that was incredible, folks. I appreciate you being here today. If you're a GM, I hope this was encouraging to you. Feel free to reach out to Anthony at any time, as well as here he is. Are you there? Let me see. Hey there, what happened?
Yeah, so we made it through this whole interview with that one phone call, but that one phone call had to happen.
Ah,
So
that's what it
yeah,
was. Okay, do
it's
you
that
remember where
time.
you were?
Yeah, just try to get your employees to buy into your vision, especially your general manager, because they're the one who is going to kind of execute that vision when you're not around. So that's the most important thing.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and ask you questions about being a GM or working under their owner and things like that, would you be open to them contacting you?
Of course, I mean they could also book a call with me if needed. I am in the general manager chat that Nick Reed implemented inside of WhatsApp, so I try
Hmm.
to stay active in there as best as I can. Unfortunately, I do have our own location to run, so I'm not always able
Yes.
to answer back. But any question directed at me, if I don't get back to them, then by the end of the day, I will make sure I try to stay in communication. So,
Awesome. Well, this is your busiest time of year that you're going into, and I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk to us and to share. I know it's going to help a lot of people.
Liz, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a great day.
You as well.
Yep. Bye.